We got some questions coming in about the DJI ban. Let's talk briefly, well, I don't know how briefly. We'll try to talk briefly about the DJI ban. Does the DJI ban mean I have to get new goggles, different VTX, etc.? Or we had a question, there was another question. Where was it? It was about the CCP Drones Act. Blunty, maybe you didn't cue it. Maybe I just saw it in the regular chat.
It's not an accurate question, so I didn't cue it.
Okay, fair enough. What is the DJI? Well, so first of all, what is the DJI ban? The DJI ban in general refers to a couple of bills that are making their way through Congress that would have the effect of limiting the ability of American consumers to get access to DJI drones. Just to recap the current state of play, again, as briefly as possible, because this is a long and ongoing situation. Currently, the federal government has limited, and some state governments has restricted the ability of federal government employees to use DJI drones. And that's well within their purview. If you're a federal agency and you want to say your employees may not use DJI drones, obviously you can tell your employees what they can and can't do. If you're a member of the military and the government says you can't use DJI drones, that's their prerogative. But when it comes to saying that citizens can't use or buy DJI drones, that is a step that hasn't been taken yet. And I think before we discuss the individual bills in question, I think it really deserves to be noted how significant that move is. Because, there are a lot of things that the government maybe wouldn't like you to have, but for them to say, we're going to prohibit your ability to import and buy these things is pretty extraordinary. And it's not unprecedented, right? Chinese toothpaste with lead in it, right? There's all kinds of, meat that has been deemed unhealthy, food products that are unhealthy. There's all kinds of things that the government says you're not allowed to import these things into the cars that don't pass emissions inspections that are going to be driven on public roads. There's all kinds of things that the government says, well, you're not allowed to have them. But boy, if you compare those things to DJI drones, it sure is unusual. Because all of the things that are prohibited, there is an argument that they present a danger to public health, to public safety. And people are making that argument about DJI drones. And I think there's a very good question of, what's going on here? Are DJI drones a threat to public safety and public health? Some people have the perspective that the Chinese government is hostile to the United States interests. They anticipate increasing tension or maybe even active conflict with the Chinese government. And they say, we have all these little flying robots with cameras and internet connectivity, and we're worried. We're worried. About what? We don't know. We just don't like it. And okay. Well, that's perspective. There's also people who say that there is absolutely no actual evidence of any of this happening. It's all theoretical. It's all DJI could do this, but they're not. And then there's other people who say, look, if all these lawmakers are it's one thing to say that specific lawmaker is just a xenophobic, they're just trying to stir up trouble for their reelection, and they're making an enemy out. Oh, the big bad China. It's one thing to say that, but when you've got bipartisan support for this kind of thing, some people are saying, what do they know? What do they know that they're not telling us? Maybe there's some fire underneath that smoke. We don't know. All of these are just perspectives that people have expressed, and we just don't know the truth. What we do know is that there seems to be a lot of momentum, starting with, we're not going to let federal agencies and the military and some states, we're going to prevent their employees from using DJI drones, to now there are bills in progress that would prevent people from buying and using DJI drones. So what are these bills? What are these bills? But by the way, yeah, good point. You know what else has camera and internet connectivity? Duh, my phone. All of your iPhones were made in China. Oh, yeah, but they were made by Apple. They weren't made by a company that's beholden to the Chinese government. Oh, you think so? You think so? Do you think any company is operating in China without potential? Anyway, that's a topic. Never mind. That's not a topic I'm qualified to comment on, so I'll shut the hell up. Just saying. It's interesting that DJI is being singled out and not like Apple. Wonder why. Anyway. One of the bills is the Countering CCP Drones Act, which would add DJI and any DJI affiliate or associate. I'm not sure I don't remember the exact wording. It would add DJI to a prohibited entities list. And basically, the takeaway, and you have to do a lot of reading to kind of wend your way through the bills, but the takeaway is that it would prohibit them from using federal infrastructure. That's the gist of it. And people who are better than me at interpreting laws have said that that would mean that they would no longer be able to get Part 15 certification. And Part 15 certification is what lets the DJI devices operate on the 2.4 and the 5.8 gigahertz spectrum without needing a ham license. So at the very least, what this would mean is that new devices would not get Part 15 certification. They wouldn't be allowed to. And so one way to interpret this bill is that new devices wouldn't be sold in the United States, but existing devices that already have their Part 15 certification would be fine. And I think that is probably the most sane reading of this bill. But in today's world, who sanity doesn't always prevail. So if you're asking me today to lay out the most likely scenario if this bill passes, which is not guaranteed that it'll pass, but the most likely scenario is that your existing stuff continues to work, as it always has, and that new stuff has to jump through some hoops in order to make it into the United States market. I don't know what those hoops might be. Some people have said, well, DJI should just license their stuff to an American company. And in fact, there is an American company out there that has licensed some DJI stuff. DJI is already doing this. But because the wording specifically says any affiliated entity, I don't remember the exact wording, it seems to my layperson's reading like simply licensing your technology to an American company and manufacturing in the U.S. would not get you out of this, regardless. The other bill in question is that was the Countering CCP Drones Act. The other one is the Drones for First Responders Act. And this one is actually in some ways more insidious. What the Drones for First Responders Act does is it adds a tariff to drones, not just DJI drones. Blunty, is that right? It's not just DJI drones. Is it just DJI drones? It's Chinese drones. All Chinese drones. It adds tariffs to them, and the tariffs start out not that big, but still noticeable and get bigger and bigger and bigger until, do you remember the max number off the top of your head, Blunty?
It's 100% plus $200 or something like that.
Yeah, it's a lot. So, and that's scales in over the course of several years. But one thing about the tariffs is that they start immediately, whereas the CCP Drones Act, most likely they would say, okay, we're going to phase this in over the course of a couple of years, and you would have some time to figure out what to do. None of these are good. None of these are good, and they all represent a problem for people who are flying drones. For hobbyists, like, absolutely, the CCP Drones Act would prohibit, for example, the DJI O4 Air unit from getting Part 15 certification, assuming it doesn't already have it, which I don't think it does. Or whatever comes next. It would absolutely, for people who think, oh, this only affects, camera drones, it doesn't affect, FPV drones. No, not true. Not true. Sorry, I'm adjusting. My mic is clipping slightly. I don't know if you guys hear it. I see it in the monitor, and I'm adjusting it. So sorry if my volume changes slightly. It drives me crazy seeing clip. I can't see a meter clip. It's not acceptable. I guess there's a brick wall limiter. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't matter. Okay. So this absolutely will affect hobbyists, not just people buying camera drones, FPV hobbyists for sure. The other thing is that it affects people like if you don't work for the federal government, but you do a contract that involves a federal entity, you're going to be bound by some of this stuff. It's going to really make problems for you. So what do we do? The truth is, I don't know. Like there are people who are advocating against this. More power to them. There's the Drone Advocacy Alliance, Blunty? What's the name? Do you know?
For what?
The Drone Advocacy Alliance, I think, is they're called.
DJI has formed alliance against this.
Well, I don't know.
I'm not sure what we're asking for. I'm sorry.
It's the Drone Advocacy Alliance. Did DJI invent that?
Yes, it's DJI backed.
Well, naturally. I guess naturally.
The federal government is trying to shut it down because they say it's a Chinese operation to block U.S. law.
I mean, it's so freaking weird, Blunty, to hear that. Because, like, if you are a foreign country operating in the United States and you lobby the U.S. government, then you are, by definition, a foreign entity trying to affect U.S. law.
They did not form a 501c6 as far as I know, and this is not an official organization. Like I think the problem is that it's lobbying by proxy and they're not officially organized to lobby. But that's my understanding of the argument.
All right.
Anyway.
Regardless. This, to me, as I understand it, is one of the leading entities trying to fight this and lobbying against this. Maybe it'll get shut down. I don't know. Blunty, is the FPV Freedom Coalition taking this up? FPV Freedom Coalition is Blunty's organization.
What up?
Are you guys like working this issue actively, or are you not?
No.
No, you are not.
We're not a lobbying organization, so we're not able to lobby against it.
Yeah, but like you might, with remote ID, FPV Freedom Coalition was leading some activism, some public activism, saying here, write letters to your Congress people, etc. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
We currently don't have a public stand.
Okay, fair enough. We'll just close that window.
We may or may not be doing something but we're not you know what I mean? We're not part of the DAA, and we're not officially. We don't have anything publicized. So.
Understood. You can contact your representatives. I've heard very mixed things from people who've contacted their representatives. Some of them reply and say, "Thank you for contacting me about the CCP Drones Act. I agree that Chinese drones are a threat to American sovereignty." And the person's like, "Wait, I told you I didn't support it. This is just a form letter." Thank you, you son of a... At least one person I know of got a response that said, "Yeah, I agree this is a problem. I'm not going to support this." But the thing is, it seems to me that the winds are blowing a certain way. You know what I mean? Like, first it was, we're not going to let federal entities use DJI. And I was like, that's interesting. But I kind of got it. Like... If you're a member of the military and you use DJI drones for your job, which absolutely was happening, and then theoretically some general somewhere is thinking, well, look, I got to cover all the bases. What if we went to war with China? Not that we're going to, but like somebody's job is to sit in a room and think of all the worst case scenarios and then decide how that would affect our posture. And they went, all these people, all of these soldiers, airmen, Marines, etc., sailors, all of them who are using DJI drones would potentially lose access to a tool that they've come to rely on. Oops, that's a vulnerability. We need to stop that. So when they said that like the military couldn't use DJI, I was kind of like, I see it. I see why you might make that decision. The military isn't allowed to do a lot of shit that the rest of us do because of who they are. When they said that federal agencies couldn't do it, I was like, well, damn, we've got crash investigators. We've got search and rescue. We've got wildlife management. We've got all these federal agencies, and they're losing access to an incredibly powerful tool. And it's kind of weird, right? I thought that was kind of weird. And now we've got the CCP Drones Act, which when I first heard of it, I was like, there's no freaking way this is going to pass. They're not just going to ban a specific company from the U.S. market with no evidence. And it's moving towards passing. And then right on its heels comes this other drones for first responders. And I'm like, okay, guys, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing here. The wind is blowing a certain direction, and it doesn't look freaking good for DJI. That's what I have to say. That's what I have to say. So even if these don't pass, I would be concerned about, the same people trying to pass similar ones. And there's some chance that these will pass. Fly High FPV says F Red Cat. What does this have to do with Red Cat?
Somebody in chat above mentioned buy Red Cat. Did you see the most confusing thing I've ever seen? Did you see the announcement they made about unusual machines?
No. What was it?
So you know how we were like, I bet they're divesting unusual machines.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it in the Discord. I bet they're divesting unusual machines so it can be recreational, right? And they can do all the commercial non-military stuff with unusual machines. Well, guess what? Unusual machines selected to provide the first drone for Red Cat's first line of first-person view lethal strike systems. So it wasn't that at all.
Red Cat's first-person view lethal strike systems.
They
unusual machines.
Them off to be on like a development house or something for them. Like,
so they've got what they've got. I mean, I don't know, but it looks to me like what they've got is the FPV side, where they're doing like FPV lethal strike systems, whatever, and then they've got like the teal drone side where they're doing like
camera
drones, reconnaissance drones, etc. That's my guess. I don't know.
For anybody in chat who doesn't know, Unusual Machines is made up of Fat Shark and Rotor Riot.
Rotor Riot. Yeah. Alan Evans. Yeah, there was that video that came out. Where's that video? Is it on? It's on Red Cat, but you can't search for Red Cat on YouTube because there's that other RC company named Red Cat. By the way, terrible choice of name. Where was that video? Red Chip. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it. See if I just search for Red Cat. Which drone? Will I find it? Red Cat Teal Drones multi-drone system in action. That's a teal thing. Red Cat Holdings. There you go.
Red Cat's pretty.
Welcome to the family. This is the one. Look at this. Ooh, what is that? Oh. Very interesting. Welcome to the family. What? Teal drones. So this will not include Rotor Riot, except that looks like a Rotor Riot drone. I don't know what the hell that is. Huh. There you go. What a world. What a world. I have no idea why they're allowing. Why is no one moderating these comments? That's the other thing that's confusing to me. Like obviously this is corporate marketing, right? I don't say that like it's a bad thing. It's just an observation. This is clearly corporate marketing. If it's corporate marketing, you should be banning BotGrinder from your YouTube channel. Like, there's no reason to, like, you're not trying to build a community around your company. You're trying to sell drones to defense contractors, or you're trying to be a defense contractor or whatever. There's no reason. There's no reason to let these comments stand. Hey, Red Cat, run your YouTube channel more like a big corporation who's trying to make money, and less like, I don't know. They only have 2.9K views and 500 subscribers, so who knows. Anyway, interesting. I mean, you could just have comments. You could just turn comments off on that video. I don't know. There's no reason. What a world. So, DJI ban. My opinion is that if this one doesn't go through, they're going to keep trying to get a different one go through until they get whatever they actually want. I don't think that I'm skeptical that their actual concern is like information security. I don't know what it is, but like just banning them from. And the final thing to say about this is that there's nothing out there that's as good as DJI. So people are like, well, what's the alternative? Everything else is so much worse. Sorry. So you're compromising the capabilities of like people spraying pesticides in their fields or fertilizer, people searching for frickin' dogs, lost dogs with a thermal camera. You're compromising all these capabilities, fire departments. You're making them work with significantly worse, significantly more expensive tools. And it's like, here's my thing, even if you stipulate that DJI is a threat to like that China is a hostile actor who will somehow use DJI drones to do illicit things. I don't know what they would be, but even if you stipulate that, you have to say, okay, so we're going to hamstring every fire department in the United States. Is it worth it? And you have to at least ask that question. And I wonder if anybody's actually looking at the other side of this.